then Yamcha does things that doesn't make any sense. Yamcha isn't supposed to do anything. Yeah, and for some reason, Chi-Chi is his crush in high school, which never happened. I mean, it just it was not true to the source material, even though Akira Toriyama was supervising all that. That's what really irked me. Like, like I'll pull up credit to Kanzen Shu for a whole bunch of Dragon Ball info that isn't very accessible otherwise. They are a great website, better than the Dragon Ball Wiki or any other fan site out there, in my opinion. Kanzenshu.com. Shameless, not advertising, but shameless shout out, I guess, because I use Kanzenshu for pretty much all of my Dragon Ball Z news. So they're pretty up to date. But one thing I noticed that they had an article on was the actually Dragon Ball Evolution, and they even said we pretend it doesn't exist. But we bring you this because they had translated an interview with Akira Toriyama, and in it he talked about evolution briefly, and he said the hold on, something about the Hollywood development team messed up, not me, pretty much. So shifting the blame. Google search because I typed Kanzemishu. Right. So I'll just search it. Whoa, Franker Z. All right, Kanzemishu. But yeah, it's just like I think he had a different vision, and then what the final product ended up being, because that would make sense. Yeah, I mean, I think what they were trying to do was modernize it, but they modernized it way too much. And then Goku turned into a Nuzaru. And then Piccolo looked atrocious, and it just made no sense. But let me see. Oh yeah, and then they also cover Dragon Ball Kai, but who cares? Like, I mean, I appreciate what they're trying to do, but they shouldn't have staggered the Buu saga like they have. They should have just done it all in one shot. And hey, look, Dragon Ball Hoshi's confirmed. Not. God, that's actually Dragon Ball Heroes. Though I will admit, Dragon Ball Evolution produced something good, and it was a licensed game that played like the Budokai series on the PSP. Under the same name. It actually had good fighting mechanics, though it had a similar story to the movie, which means the story mode doesn't exist. But great fighting mechanics similar to the Budokai series. But Shin Budokai and Shin Budokai Another, yeah, those were different. Those were Dragon Ball Z, which means they were good. Yeah. Yeah, here we are. This is pulled from May 2013. The link to the article will be in the description once this gets uploaded. But yeah, it's just I just don't even know why that was. Sorry, I'm trying to stall while this is loading. Obvious. Okay, here we go. All right. As this was the theatrical program back when this was first shown in theaters, also contained a message from Toriyama, who was at the time looking forward to the film, saying, "As the creator, as far as the scenario and characterization are concerned, I get a feeling of what? But the director, everyone in the cast, and the crew on set are ultra high caliber." Is that even a word? "Maybe it's correct for both me and all the fans to appreciate this as a new Dragon Ball in a separate dimension." That would make sense, because that dimension completely sucked. "With the power on set, perhaps it will have even become a great masterpiece. I am greatly anticipating it." This was around the theatrical release. Years later, he has said, "Apparently it's been this was building up the hype for Battle of Gods. Great movie. Apparently, it has been 17 whole years since the last animated Dragon Ball movie. And then I'm just gonna skip forward to the. All right. By the way, the battle scenes in the second half are particularly overwhelming. I was moved because the presentation exceeded my expectations. While I had expected it probably won't be any good, here's the key part. It was greatly different from a certain country's live action movie, which really was no good. He's obviously talking about Evolution. And then he said this in another interview, which is quoted as, also, at the time of the Hollywood movie, the live-action Dragon Ball, the script had too little of a grasp on the world and its characteristics. And on top of that, it had a conventional content that I couldn't find interesting. So I cautioned them and suggested changes, but in spite of that, they seemed to have a strange confidence and didn't really listen to me. What came out in the end was a movie I couldn't call really a Dragon Ball that lived up to my expectations. That being the case, there were parts where I wanted to show some spine. That's their way of saying balls. And with the world and story, only the creator could draw. So there
Like
you
that.
go. Akira Toriyama himself was not happy with Evolution after the fact. Now, while we're talking about, well, we'll get into GT later.
I'm back, by the way.
Oh, perfect. We can get into GT now. We're done with this. We were
Oh, we
just
can.
talking about random stuff and we got into Dragon Ball Evolution.
Okay, we can get into GT if you want.
Yeah, because I was just pulling up an interview that was translated from Japanese to English on Kanzen Shu. And
Yeah.
and he was talking about how he not like how Evolution turned out.
Okay.
They just didn't really listen to him, apparently.
Hmm.
So let me see. And then, so before while I'm pulling up the interview about GT, why don't we get on started on what GT should have been and what it really was? Since I'm doing the
GT
interview,
shouldn't have been. Let me start off by saying
yeah,
that.
yeah. Go ahead.
I um I like GT. I do. Um, Not many people are willing to admit that, but it shouldn't have been. The creator of Dragon Ball, the series, wanted to end it after Z.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason he created GT was because of the fan backlash behind him ending it after Z.
Indeed.
What ended up being GT ended up being what felt like rushed. It felt forced. It didn't feel very passionate.
No.
It,
Will
it
say
ended up not being as good as it could have been
no.
if it were meant to be in the first place.
Yes. I will say I did like Super Saiyan 4's design. I don't understand the first sweater, as I call it, but I did like it.
Yeah,
How Goku at least transformed. Vegeta, he cheated.
the first sweater is the first sweater, excuse me,
Mhm.
is
Oh, Uzaru
it's
reference.
the
Uzaru.
it's a hybridization of the human form and the grade 8 form.
Yes. I just
Goku
realized
managed to
that.
skip it. Well, he didn't skip it, but
No, he more harnessed it
he,
and was able
yeah,
to
he
control it
harnessed it and controlled it, and it gave him his final form. And that's
at
why
the
he's
time.
furry, is because he's still hybridized.
Yes.
What
Of
I
the
didn't
Uzaru.
understand is why, when he was wished to be a kid again,
Which
he
shouldn't
turned
have
into an
happened.
adult when he went into Super Saiyan 4.
Mm-hmm. That was
That's what I didn't understand.
yeah. That made no sense.
And then he went back to a kid when he,
Powered down.
yes.
He's like, hey, I'm an adult. Oh crap! I got powered down, kid. Okay. I'll roll with that, I guess. Not really.
The main thing I really didn't understand about GT was the final, I guess you could call it a TV movie
Mm-hmm.
for it,
A Hero's
where it
Legacy.
was like, what, like 100 years in the future.
Later, yeah.
Goku's dead, everybody's dead except for Pan, and she's this
Mm-hmm.
really old lady.
Yeah, and
You have
Goku and
Goku's
Vegeta
descendant.
Jr.
Yeah.
Goku.
No, you don't have Vegeta Jr. I think you just have like Goku Jr.
Then
Like,
who was that fighting with Goku Jr. in that
I
world tournament?
it, I don't think it was Vegeta Jr. I don't remember. I've only seen it once, but I didn't care for it because it felt like it was forced.
Again,
It didn't feel natural. It felt like they should have left it
where it was.
after the Omega Shenron fight.
Big Bang Kamehameha. Okay.
But I'm not gonna lie, I love I, one of my favorite Dragon Ball moments throughout the entire series is when you have Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Big Bang,
I
and
like.
then confetti flies out.
Yeah, I love that. It's like
I
I like
started laughing so hard.
that was funny.
I'm
I
like,
like
oh my god.
one of my favorites from Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. He's like taunting, and then he's just like, "Come on, I'll give you one shot," and then he just taps his shoulder, like he's like, "Fight, punch me right here," and
Right?
I just start laughing. He was so freaking cocky
He's
because he knew
hilarious.
he.
He's such an asshole, and he's like, he just knows how powerful he is, and he
Mm-hmm.
knows that there's no way that Omega Shenron can do anything to him, and
Yep.
he's just gloating it the whole way. And then he's a dumbass and just uses up all his time, and he's like,
Oh crap! And then Spirit Bomb.
"Hi."
Yeah, it was just the old Spirit Bomb one ploy again.
The Spirit Bomb became kind of overrated.
Yeah,
Against Frieza, it was a good thing. Against Kid Buu, it wasn't.
and Kid Buu was kind of cool. I will admit.
Kid
How?
Buu was awesome. Kid
Mm-hmm.
Buu is actually my favorite Z villain
Mm-hmm.
of all
Because he
time.
doesn't give a crap about anything. He'll
He
destroy
doesn't
the
give
Earth
a
if he
shit.
doesn't get his way, which he
The
did.
only thing he wanted was to destroy stuff. Period. you
Hence,
know,
he's the embodiment of pure evil.
exactly. Boo still had that childish nature to him.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had Super Boo, which had
Kind of like Goku.
absorbed Kid Boo, Gohan,
Gotenks.
Trunks.
Gotenks
Yeah,
Piccolo. I
Gotenks.
don't know about Vegeta. I feel like that wasn't one because of Vegeta. Yeah, obviously.
I think Vegeta was a worthy sacrifice for that fight.
Oh, the Majin Vegeta, you mean?
Yeah, Majin Vegeta.
That's one of the
Well,
best
I don't
ones.
like to think of him being Majin Vegeta when he self-destructed,
Oh
because I
yeah.
think at that point he was back to his old self again.
He just had the M
The
on
only
his
reason
forehead.
he did that is so that he could reach Super Saiyan level 2. And then Goku comes back, he's like, look at my
Hey,
hair
look at
now.
my Super Saiyan 3 swagger. Swagger. Anyway, I think
Vegeta
that was
just blew himself up because he gave up. It wasn't because he wanted to save his son. He just gave up. He's like, I'm done.
I'm done. Boom. Okay. Anyway, here's the Dragon Ball GT stuff I was pulling up. Just as the Z title apparently has a something. Also, going back to Dragon Ball, how come the episode of Bardock is and the previous TV special, Bardock the father of Goku, don't have the Z name? It's just Dragon Ball.
Huh.
Like, do
That's
they
weird
take
because isn't
place?
that during the Frieza saga?
Well, I don't know because it's shown in at least the first Bardock special,
Because
Kakarot,
I
as
thought
he's
the
known.
first Bardock special was after Frieza talked about wiping out the entire Saiyan race.
I'm talking about the one where he talks about wiping out the entire Saiyan race.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was.
Dragon Ball because it shows when Bardock has the vision, it
Uh-huh.
shows him flying towards Earth. So that means it has to take place even before Dragon Ball.
Huh.
And then of course I have no idea when episode of Bardock takes place. I don't even know. That it's I don't even know if that's even canon.
I thought the Bardock I think is canon, but I think it was a movie.
Yeah, the Bardock, the father of Goku, is
Yeah, it was a
canon.
movie. I believe it is canon.
That one is canon. Yes,
It's
I'm
almost
talking.
like a canon prequel, almost,
Mhm.
because it's before the chronology of
Mhm.
Dragon Ball, even.
But I was talking about the one recently released concerning Bardock and his suddenly Super Saiyan powers episode of Bardock. I don't even know when that takes place. It's so confusing.
What? That one probably isn't, because Bardock never went Super Saiyan. Otherwise, he would have been royalty. Because Vegeta was royalty because he had descended from the first Super Saiyan.
Yes, and then I'm surprised you hadn't heard about this. It's pretty short. It takes place immediately after the first Bardock special, so it's the sequel. So I again, but it's not that simple. Because it shows him getting destroyed by the supernova, and then suddenly he I don't know how he does it. He's back on planet Meat, but there's no Saiyans. There's only these weird alien-like creatures, and they're living coexistently.